Hello, everybody, and welcome to Week 3 of ALTTPR League Season 2. Week 3 is an Randomizer setting, so the enemies will be shuffled throughout the game. Tonight we have RickyofKokiri from Guardians of the Galaxy Brain facing off against MrScruffNinjaTuna of Hyrule Track and Field. Commentating with me tonight is TabbyCat54. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing just fine, Ohana. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm really looking forward to this race. I haven't seen these guys face off, and like either of these guys play Randomizer before, so I'm really looking forward to see how they compete and match up here. I think it'd be really entertaining.
I'm looking forward to it, mainly because I want to be able to harass Scruff later, but it's just,
Yep, I definitely understand that. So what are you hoping to see here in this race?
I'm hoping that the escape is going to be required, so Castle is going to be required, and they're going to have tons of Lionels. That's what I want. Lionels at the very beginning, and then it be like super nice. But I also want to have 2 Trinecks.
2 Trinecks. Oof, that sounds like something I wouldn't wish upon anybody.
But Trinecks is so fun.
Trinecks and an ice rod hunt. 2 of them.
Well, if Turtle Rock is a pendant, though, you know the seed's going to give us an ice rod.
Absolutely, yep. I guess we'll be able to tell pretty early on, jokingly speaking, if we find an early ice rod, then I guess we're not going to need Trinecks, right?
Of course.
Well, we should be getting started here any moment. Oh, and we're off, apparently.
There we go. Looks like Link actually does not have the hoard of money that we think he does. Oh, we get an early...
I like this. We're starting off with different starting points for each runner, so we're already getting an immediate divergence.
Yeah, Scruff typically will go the uncle route first, and then he will, check everything over there. But, well, I'm really kind of glad that we are seeing this as...
Yep. And hold on one moment as we sync up here. There we go. We've got the bullies here by the tree pole giving Ricky a little bit of a hard time.
Looks like we don't have a crab we can check, unfortunately, but let's check out this lumberjack.
This is very bizarre. A lot of stationary enemies on Scruff's side, too.
Oh, the book. We are literate.
Oh, and I just missed what was on Ped. Looks like a red rupee, actually. Not Ped. Lumberjack.
Yeah, it was a red rupee. So, Scruff's gonna get his bombos. Fun fact is that Ohado is actually of Guardians of the Galaxy Brain, and I'm of Hyrule Track and Field, so we thought this was gonna be a really fun thing to basically face off against each other while our teammates are facing off against each other, while apparently relentlessly harassing both of our teams.
Yep, and of course, seeing who can be the most impartial toward their team is our competition as we go.
Exactly.
No, but it is pretty funny because I know MrScruffNinjaTuna pretty well outside of the league as well. So despite Ricky being a teammate of mine, I am really rooting for both of these runners here.
Not the bomb. No, Scruff.
Loses one of his 2 precious bombs there. So it looks like we might be seeing a Houlihan from Ricky here.
That's actually a good play, especially since you don't have any rupees. And I think he got bullied out of any rupees he might have found in general. So,
yep.
Yeah, this is definitely something I would do.
I do like that. It gives him an easy opportunity to get back into buy bombs when he gets into the village and get all of the checks that he needs there.
Unless he's not going to the village first, he may be going down to either Sahasrara or even South Shore, because with that money he can get bombs and check a whole lot of checks real quick.
That's fair as well. He kind of has both options starting at Link's house. He can go left and start from the library side of the village, or head straight to the right.
And that was actually pretty cool there with the, him using the Julian to get to, just to get back to Link's house and check. Oh, early peg check.
Oh boy.
Little piece of love. 3 minutes and the pet is already dead.
Sadness for chat here. Of course, you always love to see something hidden on pedestal there, but no pedestal means tonight.
Oh, and Ricky's gonna get bullied by a Dark World bully here, and losing that bomb like multiple times.
He's gonna have to reset and hopefully get down to that random point again without getting the bully.
He's got the money. I'm going to expect him to just buy bombs at this point.
I think that's definitely the safe bet. More importantly for him was probably figuring out how to get around him without getting bodied directly into one of the enemies there.
That was a hook shot.
Thank God he has that one bomb still.
See, what I wanted to see was like one of the mystery seeds I've done in the past where I had Randomizer, and it was unkillable thieves that did chaos damage to you.
Oh my goodness. That sounds like a disaster.
But they were only in Thieves' Town.
Well, that's appropriate at least. Ricky picks up his hook shot. That'll help him get around a little bit faster for a little while until we find the boots.
Yeah, it's also a pretty good invincibility. Well, early on.
Yep. And both the well and the Blind's Hut here being pretty void of checks or void of items.
But Scruff is very healthy though, so
Very healthy.
He went from 3 to 7 and almost instantaneous.
Yeah, that happened actually very fast. I didn't even notice.
We were too concerned with the bullies on Ricky's.
Ricky does find the cape.
And Randomizer cape is awesome.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. But one thing you always have to wonder when you get a cape this early is, does that mean Aga is in play? So we'll be looking for a lamp and a sword to know if we need to do Aga or not.
Yeah, very true, very true. We're gonna see what we got to see if we get anything for Dark World access, because right now we got.
Yep. Well, of course we also do need the pearl before we get there. There's a chance that pearl could be on the pyramid ledge, but we'll say it's on our radar.
Definitely on our radar. Now, what it could be is, instead of the pearl being on the ledge, it's going to be an agassiz with, like the mirror on the ledge or mitts on the ledge or something, and we find everything else in the light world, and then the moon pearls on desert ledge or something like that. But they can get that already. Never mind. That's not fun.
I like this. Scruff taking the chance of there being something on the race, and that we know that there is, of course, but it's always kind of a debate for me, at least. Do I just go ahead and do the race and hope there's something there, or do I check it and then find out if I have to go back?
It was a very dry cack, so one thing Scruff typically does is, in everything I played with him, he will check the maze if he has a very dry cack.
That makes a lot of sense. Right now we're looking at South Shore, Dam, Aginas, and the Eastern Palace area as our remaining checks available.
Probably by the end of CAC, Ricky's going to almost have enough, if not enough, to actually go do Zora even. So we've got a lot of checks open.
Yep, that's definitely true. And we didn't mention it earlier, but we do have all of our Light World dungeons as regular blue crystals. So feeling pretty good with what our Dark World layout's going to be. That increases the odds of all of our pendant dungeons, or sorry, our Dark World dungeons being pendants. So some of the ones that are a little bit longer to check everything in, there's a chance that we will not need to go in there. Of course, bosses being shuffled in this mode doesn't necessarily help a ton.
Right. We could have a full clearable swamp palace, but at the end have a Trinex. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Dark. We could just have Misery Mire and we could have Misery Mire, Ice Palace, and Turtle Rock is pendant.
Yep. So we do get our Power Glove here, so we're one step closer to that Dark World access. Blue Rupee as the fish prize.
I don't think. Oh, Scruff finally got it.
Conveniently, this gives Ricky a little bit of time to catch up on the South Shore. This is a really gross assortment of enemies, not really being able to do anything about damaging most of these on the South Shore here. Got fire bars, those magical orbs, moving spikes, and the skulls that don't take damage from some items.
Yeah, so the fun fact on the skulls that if you actually freeze them and then hit them with a hammer, you got a different price pack. I found that out.
Huh. That is really interesting.
You apparently have to hit them with a hammer, though. You can't hit them with a sword.
Well, hitting them with the hammer does turn them into an entirely different enemy. It's no longer a flying skull, it's a pile of dust.
True. And we are getting a back of escape check here, so let's see if this is where progression is. Oh, and it looks like a front of escape.
This be pretty nice. And Ricky has not checked Uncle yet, so he'll probably be heading over there as well.
And we get the flute.
Of course we do. It's very nice having the hookshot at this point because that gives you access to the east side of the mountain as well.
So, interesting fact here is that in this Randomizer mode, you actually are not going to be getting anything that you would need to kill with a bow or specific things.
Yep, and Tuna here is showing off some Dark World Dark Cross strats. He gets a little roughed up by the enemies in there. Hard to navigate with those bomb-dropping guys that you're not typically expecting when you enter Dark Escape.
Yeah, at least he really didn't need to have the, anything specific there, but bombers are just no. Looks like Ricky is not even going to bother with that rupee crab possibly having something there, because they do drop stuff in dungeons sometimes.
I keep looking over at MrScruffNinjaTuna's stream here and seeing the Goomba and just wanting to swing at it, thinking it's a dead rock. Like, get off my screen.
At least he's not playing the dead rock, right?
Boy, I have done that before, and that one feels so impossible to play with.
Well, when it comes to those enemies, I like playing as the tile.
That's a good one as well.
But the Dead Rock is interesting, but not one that I want to play at.
So Scruff is heading up the mountain now. Makes a lot of sense having the glove and the hook shot as soon as you get the flute. That's definitely where I would be wanting to go.
We just gotta look at our stun prize boots. It is bombs, it looks like.
That is a very nice one to have. Although that dropped a heart.
I'm pretty sure I saw something else there.
This is going to drop the key no matter what.
I might be wrong.
I'll have plenty of time to find out.
Until they find a sword, yeah.
Thankfully, this is a pretty easy enemy to kill here. Not having one of those ball and chain guards. Front of escape not really having anything for us.
There's a hammer in Paradox Cave.
So we are just Pearl away from having Dark World access now.
Ag is now on life support when he was a very strong contender. Ricky went ahead and picked up his flute in the back of Escape, and we're probably about to see a Hera play from MrScruffNinja.
Yeah, so at this point, unless we end up with big key in the basement and our runners don't know Hera Pot, we could be seeing our first crystal completion very shortly. To answer chat here, I don't actually know if either of the runners know the new glitches that have been legalized, Diver Down or Icebreaker. And this being something that was just legalized last week, not all runners have had really too much time to get used to the glitches, although I do expect that we will see a number of those plays this week.
I think that you're right on the money on there with them. They know of them, of course. They probably are practicing them, but I'm not sure if we're actually going to see them in this room.
Oh, and we have a nice early big key, so we won't have to worry about Hera Pot here. So we should be seeing crystal completion from MrScruffNinjaTuna here very shortly. So in case anybody missed it too, we do have Pegasus boots that were on that floating island there.
Yeah, there was just Couch Cash on Ether Tablet, so thankfully we're not going to be seeing that. Oh, looks like Sun Price is a heart. I must have seen another drop earlier.
Sometimes if the hook shot ends up killing something, it doesn't give you the stun prize item.
That's a good point. It could have been something that he just killed, or it could have woke up or something right as it was.
Yep. So we got our first item out of Tower of Hera here, just being 50 rupees.
I'm almost hoping for Herasaur, because Herasaur is one of my favorites, because it's just so bad. But we do have a Cold Stare.
Cold Stare, we do have Bombos medallions, so...
But we don't have a sword.
Yep, that's true.
And we have a very angry Scruff.
Now, theoretically though, couldn't we take that fight with the hammer?
We can, however, we don't have a sword to activate Bombos.
Oh, yep, that is a fantastic point. Can't believe I forgot about that.
We do have Speed Gaming 2 joining us from with the party here. So welcome to a fantastic league race between Ricky and MrScruffNinjaTuna. We are just getting started and found out that Cold Stare is at the top of the Tower of Hera, much to Scruff's very, very visible chagrin.
It's a tight hallway to have those bullies in, too. Handled very well by Scruff, though.
Oh no, Sabo and Data had a technical issue. So, well, we welcome you here, and we are very thankful that you decided to join.
That is very unfortunate, but, you know, the more the merrier. We're happy to have each and every one of you.
So here's if we can find a fire source in Desert Palace, we could check out and see what's in the back there, and see if Scruff can pick up some crystal somewhere. As Ricky is probably about to get the very bad news that he is not going to be able to clear out this dungeon.
Scruff giving us a brief monologue from Agina here, and we do find the lamp in Agina's cave.
Well,
all you have to do is talk to him, and he provides.
This kind of changes that Aga being on life support. If we find the Moon Pearl, Aga is dead. If we find a sword, Aga is very alive.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, at this point, you know, Pearl either has to be right out here, somewhere in the overworld, or it has to be, you know, immediately after Aga on the pyramid.
Sorry about that. It looks like we were seeing a Herapod attempt there from Ricky, but he's like, nah.
Yep, I saw him warming up with that a little bit, and was giving him a little bit of trouble. So I'm not surprised seeing him try one and then be like, nah, not worth the time right now.
Yeah, in that particular setup, I prefer the Drac setup for it when I do it. But any of those bomb setups for Herapod, just sometimes if you're just one pixel off, it'll just throw.
Yep, and then you always have to be careful doing that. If you pick up the item off of an enemy that that you've killed before it hits the ground, that can also make it not possible to do the Herapod trick.
We are boots locked in Desert Palace today, so I guess we're going to East.
Yep, so we will need a mirror as well. Ricky's about to find his disappointment here, finding Cold Stare at the top.
We do have a new piece of information here. Looks like that Skull Woods is our green pendant.
And there's the pearl. And the fire rod. Ooh, this was a nice closet.
So here's the question. Does Scruff go back to the mountain and more displeasure from Scruff. Does he go back to the mountain to go kill off Hera, or does he just go here and see what's...
Yeah, it looks like he is going to take a look into Eastern and see what he can find. Ricky opting for a series of falls all the way down to the bottom of Tower of Hera rather than taking the Death Warp.
Oh, this is not a pretty room. I don't like this room here.
You have pod turtles and the bully.
Question is, are we going to see a lot of thieves in Thieves Town today?
We've seen so many elsewhere in the world. Now, so I am not a very experienced Randomizer player, and by not experienced, I mean I have not touched it literally once ever. I have only watched. Um, are the enemies, is there a random amount of each type of enemy that can spawn? Or is it, whatever the original like set pool is?
It is completely random. I've played a lot of Randomizer because I am a mystery fangirl, and Randomizer and mystery kind of go hand in hand. So you could have an entire thieves town full of thieves, or you could have no thieves at all. You could have no nothing. Like he's had a lot of Hinox, for example. I've had a seed where I didn't see a single one.
Gotcha. I just want to point out here very quickly, we do have a raid coming from Speed Gaming Francais. Welcome, all of our French buddies. Happy to have you. We're facing off right now, Ricky of Kokiri versus MrScruffNinjaTuna. Guardians of the Galaxy Brain looking to get their first 3 points on the board against Hyrule Track and Field here. So welcome and bonjour. Pardon my terrible accent.
I think the attempt was definitely appreciated. And we see that stacked closet and Ricky saying, "Why didn't I have that earlier?"
Looks like he's debating which way he wants to go now.
Saha just says, "Well, I found these items. They're mine."
Despite a couple of early deviations, starting at different points and Ricky doing the hula hand, we've seen pretty much the same route from both of our runners here. I think the hula hand play really making the little bit of a difference between time that you see between our two runners at the moment.
Okay, so we have Lionel's here in the back. This is a very mean back of Eastern, but we do have the health to be able to tank it.
Yep.
And there's
we do have a fairy as well.
And we have the cape.
So, yeah, lots of safeties. Looking good to be able to figure out what our boss of Eastern Palace is going to be. Very well handled.
Yeah, it was. I would like to point out that I did request to have Lionel's in a dark room, and my needs have been sated.
You brought this evil upon us.
Commentator's curse.
So this not being nearly as bad of a room that typically has the Igors in it. Both these rooms not being terrible. Just that Lionel room was really the tough one. Taking the pot off the one enemy to take out another one.
I think that should award some points there just for for being ingenious. And oh no.
Oh. Here we have our first Trinex fight. So we've seen two of our bosses so far, both of them currently unkillable.
So Cold Stare's killable, and I think we're about to see Scruff be very angry with something. Oh wait, no, he's going Dark World. With all that excitement, I forgot we got Dark World access.
Oh yeah.
Looks like we got a pendant on both Pod and Swamp, 5/6s on the Turtle Rock and Ice Palace. So, not a bad layout, but unfortunately Turtle Rock is going to be required.
Yeah, we're also going to have a required Misery Mire, so potential for more medallions going to be required for this seed as well.
Oh, Blue Mail, that's very nice for our, for just life.
And half magic. So, while nothing absolutely required, this was a nice safety cave. I'd say mediocre hype cave.
It's safety cave. We'll go at a 10 out of 10 safety cave, but 4 out of 10 hype.
Yep. Yeah, quality of life cave. I like that too.
And Ricky's about to see the dark room he never wants to see in the dark.
Yeah, we'll see how masterfully he's able to execute this room as well. Flippers on Stumpy.
There's the panic right there. The oh no.
What have I done? Oh, but he finds the key very, very quickly. So actually not even taking any damage in that room. Or did he? Maybe he grabbed a heart right there, actually. I think he got hit once.
I can tell you that somebody who has played Randomizer quite a bit, that seeing that room would do the exact same thing. I would pause for a second and say, okay, hang on for a sec, how am I going to get...
So curious to see where Scruff is going to go now. Looks like he's going to do some water checks for us. And there's our first, well, maybe not our first, but there's our first look at a sword.
The swords are liking to be on Lake Hylia, and oh, Ricky's disappointment right there.
I could see it. He walked forward, he's like, I have the fire rod. Oh, but I'm missing a very crucial other piece to this puzzle.
And mind you, this means that an ice rod hunt is going to be in order.
Oh, and we have our Titan's mitts now as well on the hobo under the bridge.
That is pretty nice that's a pretty nice find. I was almost expecting both Scruff and Ricky to do some fake flip checks, so I was kind of surprised, but at the same time, you don't really want to fake flip whenever you're on enemy.
Yeah, that's a lot of, you're leaving a lot of things up to chance there. Taking that insta-death to some random enemy you weren't expecting, you know, even just getting those bomb-dropping enemies coming after you when you're trying to fake flipper, that's a real nightmare.
I find that the most common enemy that you have to run away from is actually the guards. They're not nice when you're fake flippering.
Yep. That little Goomba sprite looks like it's swimming no matter what.
Looks like we're about to get the quality of life cave on Ricky's side and a Zora check on.
Unfortunately, just arrows from that scam artist fish there.
Yeah, we had found a very nice blinds hut at one point, and we were saying that the blind had just gone and stolen everything from the fish, and that's why he had nothing.
So Ricky's taking his first look at the Dark World layout here.
About to get a medallion check from Scruff. And it is Bombos.
Alright. Very cool. We get another bottle of blue goo this time. So we're getting a couple more safeties along our way here.
I would be surprised if we don't see Scruff go back up to the mountain at this point, because he has everything he would need, really, at this point to get up there and to kill off Cold Stare and, you know, do what he needs to do.
Yeah, but he might also be thinking about Skullwoods at this point, being able to get into the back of that with the fire rod that he has.
To answer a question in chat, the boots are on the floating island, so we are looking for the mirror just so that we can get up there and be able to access some desert palaces.
Sick kid not giving us anything, but anything too special here. Ricky does pick up his flippers now, so I expect we'll be seeing him head in that direction fairly soon.
It's going to sound silly here, but what sprite is Ricky using? Because it is adorable.
I've actually wondered that myself, and I keep forgetting to ask him about that.
I am loving the witch hat. Chat saying it's the Toho sprite.
Something that I am not familiar with. Scruff's gonna take a dive into Thieves Town here. We'll find out if this is a true Thieves Town that you've been hoping for.
So another thing with Thieves Town is that you do not have to bomb the top. If blind is going to be here, blind is going to be here, but in Randomizer, doesn't. And the back of Thieves Town ends up becoming essentially your left side swamp.
That is a very interesting point.
Oh, sword.
Hopefully we do find our first sword here.
Ricky picking up his mitts, and I would say that both of these runners, as soon as they find Cane of Samaria, I would say are going to be going back up there, knowing that, you know, Turtle Rock is a crystal that they have to get, and then they can loop everything in together.
Absolutely. So I didn't catch what the second item was on the front of Thieves Town, but we have at least one found so far. We found the map and the key as our other items. It looks like small key was the other one, so we've only found one out of our 4 items. Which in this case, I don't know about you, but I would definitely not treat this as some might treat Left Side Swamp. I would be wanting to check as much of the back of this as possible.
Oh, absolutely. Since we have 3 items to find here, some people will treat it at the back of Left Side Swamp if they already find 2 items or more, but not.
Yep, I think in that case, if I find 3 items and a big key in the front, I'm just, I'm going straight to the boss and dipping after that.
Now that we do have a sword, we can get over to the back of Skullwood. And that's a green pendant, so this would not be the first time that we would see something on Saha.
No, that's true. And for those of you who are joining us more recently, we did find out about 3 minutes into the seed that Pedestal is dead. So we know that we don't need to collect all of the pendants, but collecting the green pendant might be pretty worth it at this point.
That's not to say that all of the pendant bosses could not have progression, though, because we've seen that.
Very true.
Maybe not in this league, but definitely in practice and in our.
Thank you for closing that thought. It's something that as I was talking, I meant to say, and then I got to the end of my sentence, and it just, I was done. I didn't want to talk about the rest of it, I guess.
Wait, do you know what those little Edie monsters are? They keep eating Scruffs.
I don't know the name of them, but it was rather entertaining.
Wanting to call them Phyllis, but that's that would just be a joke from, wasn't it, the Critical Role's Doom Eternal thing.
No.
Ooh, there's a mushroom.
Seeing all these random swords inside the dungeons gets me antsy from it. We do have vanilla blind here. Very nice.
I'm sure Scruff is incredibly excited to see that. Scruff has no issues taking down Blind, as it is a scripted fight, and gets his first crystal, and the first crystal of the match at 38 minutes and 59.
Yep, a bit of a slow start, but not too bad overall. We have information for a number of our bosses and what we need. We know that we can finish off Tower of Hera at this point. So that one, I wouldn't be surprised if our runners just go back there right before they enter Ganon's Tower.
As chat points out, yes, there was only one thief inside Thieves Town, so we could count all of those little pickets. That's what they're called, the Edie monsters or pickets. We'll call them the thieves.
Yep, there you go. Otherwise, it is the Thieves Town. Scruff, lighting himself on fire a little bit by dropping an extra bomb there. Yes, I believe he would be the mayor of Thieves Town, and all the pickets being his lovely apprentices. Or her lovely apprentice.
Now, I do love the thing at the chat saying that the Goomba stole the mushroom from Mario's tavern. I'm pretty sure that when the Goomba finds a mushroom, it should just grow in size. Become one of the big mushrooms from the huge world in Mario 3.
For a moment, I thought that Scruff just killed the smith with that pot that he threw. The smith disappeared, hiding behind the sprite.
And unfortunately, we only get $50 there, and I think he just did a rage slash toward the apprentice, so...
Thank you to Speed Gaming 3 for joining us with a rate of 78 people. Welcome, everybody.
The matchup you're seeing here is Guardians of the Galaxy Brain versus Hyrule Track and Field, with Ricky of Kokiri representing the Galaxy Brain and Scruff representing Hyrule Track and Field.
Current updates on the race. We know Pedestal is dead. We know Cold Stare is boss of Tower of Hera. And we have Trinex sitting inside Eastern Palace.
We also have Mr. Scruff with 1 crystal and Ricky about to get his first crystal.
Yep, Ricky also going to be very pleased finding our first clearable boss here, Vanilla Blind.
As I did not see what was on the Smiths, was too preoccupied with Ricky's screen for a moment there. It looks like we had the bow on the Smiths today, so we actually can go full clear pot if we wanted.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very nice pickup to find there.
Probably not what Scruff wanted to see, though, knowing that pot is a pendant.
At the very least, we know it's going to be required at some point, so it does get us a little bit closer to that, that end point that we're all hoping for here.
But in Randomizer, no, it is actually bow can be completely unrequired.
Really?
Yes. So in Ganon's tower, they may not have those red mimics, and they may not have the red Igors in it.
Do you not need the bow for? Okay.
You don't.
Yeah. No, I guess that makes sense.
Yep, you don't need the bow to get through pod other than that one eye. So if that's a crystal, then yeah, you need it. But otherwise, it's not really It's not really.
Well, that's just fantastic. I'm learning so much tonight. Thank you for educating me.
One of the fun things with mystery seeds, of course, is finding out that it's a mystery cross keys. If you get that with Randomizer, Chaos Damage, Whole 9, is you could climb GT, and the only thing you really need is the lamp to get to the top. The lamp and the big key, with a couple keys, of course. But yeah, it's very interesting whenever you're Randomized and you're like, wait, where are the enemies? Actually, if you've seen, one of the things in chat said, the bow is technically required for Ganon. If you do not have a bow and you get to Ganon, he will actually say to you, what are you doing here? Do you realize you don't have
Does he still let you fight him, though?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So Scruff finally said enough is enough. I'm going up the mountain now.
Well, we really don't have many other places to check.
Not a ton.
But we do have the back of Skull Woods, so Scruffy should have gone. Of course, I say this from the commentator's booth, not racing.
Yeah, I mean, the alternative also being pod that we could have gone to. But having had those mitts for so long now, I definitely understand that. Ooh. Oh, it was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
We're about to see if we can get into Turtle Rock right now.
So as for finishing Eastern right now, we're still looking for an ice rod.
And Ricky has still not gone to Agina to get his lamp, and that is going to be a very painful cave he's got.
Yeah, that is tough because I do think that he checked desert too, didn't he?
He did. So, he will get it eventually.
Yep, Scruff with some rage slashes a moment ago when he realized he can't get back to the Turtle Rock that he found out he can technically access now.
We got a nice safety item, so we have another kind of semi-quality of life cave.
I like all these QOL caves we're getting.
Well, looks like we are going to get a spike cave check. We've got half magic. We've got everything else we need. And a cape, so it definitely is a good play to make.
Yep, shouldn't need to use any of the potions that we have here, the potion or the fairy. Picking up the Fisher Price shield.
I mean, you could parry things, right?
Yep, you could knock some arrows straight out of the sky. My personal favorite is just hook shot the arrows out of the sky.
Oh, I like those too.
Feels like more of a skill challenge, even though it's really quite simple.
I'm not sure how I missed those Lionels here a moment ago, but we have Lionels harassing Rick.
Yep. And Ricky will be able to open up his Turtle Rock here. They did get at least one item out of Tower of Hera. I know there was a 50 rupee check. I did not see what the big chest was, so I believe there's still one item left in there, but I could be mistaken on that.
Oh, and Scruff is going to do Hera followed by Turtle Rock.
Meanwhile, Ricky probably going to be heading straight back to Turtle Rock after he picks up his Cane of Samaria here.
Always enjoy finding Cane of Samaria at any point in a race, because not only with the new tech you can do, but it's a nice sword.
Oh yeah. At this point, with so many of the glitches that have been discovered now, it's no longer just an item that gets you access to a couple of dungeons. You can set up so many new things now, including the Ancilla flipper checks from a few months back that were allowed. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, the Racing Council did legalize a couple of new glitches. I believe there are 4 types of glitch that were recently added. Most of them access being provided by the Cane of Samaria.
They are actually really cool to watch too. My favorite one is not the Diver Down or Icebreaker, where Diver Down you can actually jump into the water and kind of walk on top of it and get the items there. For example, in Swamp Palace and Icebreaker, you go through a little wall. But the one that's in Pod, where you actually just go up the stairs and over the obstacle there, is really cool.
I actually do like that one. It's a relatively minor time save, but it's just kind of a lot of fun to do.
Just looks cool. And oh, Rage Slashes. Scruff gets his second crystal here in the Tower of Hera. The second item is going to be in the basement.
This part of Turtle Rock seems so calming now without crystal rollers to worry about.
This is the joys of Randomizer. Sometimes those hard rooms that you just never want to go against, like the Chain Chomp room, for example, might not have anything in it.
On the other hand, this fire bar being in the middle of the room, not that it's not easy to pass, but it's kind of a little bit of an inconvenience. I think the worst one that I have ever seen is the Ganon Tower room on your climb with the 4 torches and a cross. That center enemy being one of those big spikes and not having a blue cane or a cape to avoid it with.
And Scruff getting the bad news that unfortunately there was nothing in that big chest, so his hopes of avoiding the basement, well, unfortunately were...
Ricky remembering his recent safety pickup there. From Safety Cave number 2.
And we're getting a coffee break on Scruff's side, so these are 2 really great runners, and definitely go and follow them as we have this small little lull in the time.
I did it. I do like Ricky's sprite turning into the mushroom as bunny mode. That may have been what you commented on before, but I missed it.
No, I didn't see that one until just now. I was enjoying the red eye. And the Hera basement. That always has progression, except when it doesn't. Unfortunately, did not have progression. So the question here remains, where is progression?
We don't have a ton of options left, as you said before. And we've got Turtle Rock here, which I'm sure is exactly where Scruff is heading right now. And then I think we have pod area checks. That's really it.
Oh, Skullwoods. We do have Skullwoods.
Oh, yep, correct. Thank you. I guess with the cape too, we do have the bumper ledge there.
Okay, that mushroom sprite is adorable too.
It's pretty good. I enjoy it.
So we don't have any overworld checks. We have any dungeon checks, and I would say that we probably are going to end up seeing probably Ice Palace next from Scruff. It's a crystal. You gotta finish it anyway. Let's see what happens.
So we do have both the keys that we need now for the backup Turtle Rock, but we're still definitely going to be checking out Laser Bridge.
We are going to get a very something I really enjoy whenever I see runners do it, because I personally hate whenever I have no lamp for Turtle Rock. Dark room always looks so cool.
What seems particularly difficult about this setup is that you do not have the fire bars as a point of reference for how you're moving through this dark maze.
And Ricky just showing us that who needs a lamp?
Yeah, I mean, truly, that looked easier than any time I've done it.
We're gonna see if we have the mirror in his vanilla location on Laserbridge.
Ricky's gonna set up the safety door here, which makes a lot of sense. I don't believe he picked up the blue potion, so he just has a fairy in his bottle right now.
Not to mention, there's a wall master, and
Yep. Also very true, which he got grabbed by just before falling all the way down. Oh, he did grab that. Maybe he... When did he get that potion?
I don't know. I did not catch when he got...
Maybe, he must have gone... I wonder if he went for the mushroom turn in and picked up the potion then.
That could be it, because I don't see him with a... I only see him having one bottle.
We know he did get that fairy one at the beginning.
And as Chad is expertly pointing out here, I do believe that Ice Palace is going to be your play, because you've got 3 items in ice, and you've got 2 more items in the pyramid. So that's going to be probably our.
Yep. And our boss is blind number 2.
We will not be seeing blind in Gannis Tower today.
But you know who we could see? Double Trinex.
Oh yeah. Now, we cannot see Trinex in Moldorm 2, but we can see Trinex really on any other spot in Gannis.
Correct.
Yes, you can have Trinex on ice, and that's not fun.
It's already the worst when the right head of Trinex gets a little bit of ice on the floor, but you just start with it everywhere. You wonder how much fun Trinex was having before you even got in there. So we walk away from Turtle Rock without anything important.
I am surprised. That is something that we usually do see something in there, especially like me.
Yep, I was really expecting that as well. Looks like Ricky is probably going to be leaving his Tower of Hera for his final crystal at this point, opting to go straight to Spike Cave rather than finish up Tower of Hera first. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. We don't have the mirror. I keep forgetting that minor point.
Well, and another thing is, even if he goes back for it, that's great. But if he waits for it on Ganon's Tower, he can mirror straight from his last crystal to opening up.
And, from our point of view, we do know that there isn't anything there, so it's completely worthwhile to route it that way.
But it's also in the racer's mind. I mean, as both of us are racers, I'm pretty sure this is the exact play both of us would make as he runs away. Never mind.
Yeah, he's looking straight at Ice Palace, it looks like.
Eyes
I like
on
this
that
play.
prize. I really like this play as well. This is definitely what I would do in this. Seeing that we have the 5/6, I would definitely go straight to.
Yeah, it opens up 5 checks for you, hoping that you can clear the boss here. Your other options, you have Pendant Pod, which, granted could have an item in there, but when you have the Crystal Dungeon open, you really want to emphasize doing that first.
So, one quick thing on when it comes to Randomizer for this week specifically. Now, this is not going to be every time you play Randomizer, but the way that we have this set up for League, you can, we have Moldorm areas, cannot have Armos, Argus, Blind, Trinex, or Landmalas. And then Landmalas cannot have Blind, and then Trinex cannot be in Skullwoods. So that's pretty much where we're going to find things. You can have almost any other boss anywhere else, though.
Yeah, and that is Full Boss Shuffle is the name for that setting, correct?
That's correct, yes. Now, I will say that I don't know how Trinex could even be in Skullwood, so I think that's going to be standard. I think we're going to get an icebreaker here.
Could be. Looks like we are. This is my first time seeing this actually during a race. So we were hypothesizing about whether the runners had familiarized themselves with these glitches earlier, and it looks like at least one of the two has. So he's got the first part set up there. It's not a terribly difficult glitch, but it's a lot of small steps, and part of what you have to do is sword buffer to get that 1 frame movement left that you see Ricky trying to set up here. Okay.
I would almost venture to say it might be more beneficial to just go back to Ice Palace Bomb Jump if you mess up a couple times. But I mean, I'm really excited to see if he actually does get.
Yep, he's very close. It's just that movement after the red block placement. You only want to move 1 frame left from there. And it seems like that's the part that's giving him trouble here.
We did have Scruff get his third crystal, and he is here in Ice Palace, about to give Ricky a high five. This could also be a little bit of nerves. You know, you might get it in practice almost every time, but then, you know, you get to a race and you're like, what am I going to do here? And something like that.
Yep. That's very true. And as well, with it being such a new glitch that's been discovered, I'm sure not really having a lot of time to have practiced it and really make sure you're solid on it at this point. And I know myself, I've only successfully done it once. I practiced a little bit last night, got it once, and I was like, cool, now I know. And then I moved on to learn some of the other glitches, but I can definitely see hitting race mode and being like, oh wait, what was that step again? I thought I knew it.
And as Scruff's teammate, I will say that he knows Icebreaker, but he is not confident enough to do it in a race right now.
Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable. I understand that.
And on the plus side, we did not have any floating enemies in that room there, so that is that's really beneficial for the Ice Palace bomb. If you have a floating enemy in the room right beyond the Ice Palace bomb jump room, then you cannot Ice Palace bomb jump. You cannot do it. I'm gonna say Ice Palace bomb jump one more time. Oh, we have a vanilla room here. Okay.
That's interesting. And while this one not being vanilla, it kind of feels like it.
True.
It's another unkillable enemy running rampant.
I think that Scruff is going to try the damage boost here, probably. Oh, no. There's a thing you can do with that particular spike where you put the hook shot right as the thing is about to hit you, and you can actually jet forward rather than being pushed.
That actually feels really good when you get it.
Really does. I was kind of surprised I didn't see Scruff do it. I've seen him in practice, and he pretty much tries it every single time, and he gets it quite often. So I was a little surprised, but safe.
So
Looks like-
Ricky is going back for iced tea room, but Scruff's gonna head straight for the boss. Sorry if I cut you off there.
Oh no, I was about to say the exact same thing, actually.
So we'll see how important this ends up being. It's just a small key, so Scruff is safe here, but you know, the longer this race goes on, that's going to be another thing that sits in the back of his mind.
Oh, we have a Viddy. Viddy is actually, without the silvers, he's kind of annoying, but Scruff's got this, I think.
Yep, he had a full set of arrows from what it looked like, so this shouldn't be too bad of a fight here.
Yeah, it's 3 arrows to kill any of the little guys, and then it's 8 arrows to kill the boss. So he's probably going to want to use bombs to finish off those eyes.
Ooh, that hurts to see.
But he has a fairy!
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Thank you. Thank you, fairy. That might be why he opted for the hammer. He's like, this is a quicker kill. I know I have the safety if I need it. So we do see him resorting to sword spins now.
Gonna try to send some telepathic vibes and say, Scruff, Scruff, come on. Use the bomb.
He does only have 2 of those left as well, though, so I don't know if that would have been enough to finish off those eyes on their own either.
And we found on Ricky's side, we've got ether over here, which we know is not required, but I think the items that we didn't find are going to definitely weigh on Scruff's mind. He might go back in for.
Yep. And a little extra health there is not anything to be too upset about here.
It looked like Scruff, I think, only picked up 1 item in Ice Palace. So yeah, I would be in his position right now and say, I've got to go back. There's something in there.
Yep. So we should be seeing our runners leaving Ice Palace for good around the same time. I think Ricky might be leaving just a little bit ahead, but
Ricky does have more bombs, so I think we're going to be seeing the bomb strat for Viddy from Ricky, because that it does take a little bit less time and a little bit less.
And another thing that we do have too is that cape of half magic as well. So if it really gets into a tight situation, I don't believe that he has any safeties remaining in the bottle. So he at least has that to fall back on.
And remember, with cape with half magic, the more that you swing your sword, the slower rather the magic will drain. However, with fighter sword, you can't hit Viddy without a spin.
Nope. So it's unfortunately a little counterintuitive, but Ricky having a little bit of trouble there.
Ricky does not have enough arrows to finish off Viddy right now.
So he's going to be in for a long final phase, but not an impossible one.
Oh, Scruff is going to try the icebreaker. That frustration, though.
Just throws it. It's like, moving on.
Now, if you were able to catch one of the tournament matches between Gamma Chew and Act the Boker, Gamma actually did a fighter sword Vitreous without bow. He only had bombs, and it took him a solid 2 minutes to finish this.
Ooh, Ricky, making me nervous. Get that cape out, buddy.
Yeah, he's making me real nervous right now.
Do some spins. Get some spins in there.
Don't be a hero, Ricky.
Oh, I'm holding my breath. I'm not going to breathe until this is done.
Just close our eyes, cover them.
Okay, he's found himself a good spot for a rhythm here. There we go.
Nice.
Whew, okay. Alright, I can breathe now. Well done, buddy.
Was at this moment that we are saying it is completely okay for you to be partial at
Just that one moment, I'm still rooting for Scruff here too, but whew.
We should name him Ricky of Heart Attack.
My other teammate, he's just a boy in chat saying thank you for the heart attack, Ricky.
And we have Speed Gaming 5 coming in with a party of 73. Hello, and welcome to this amazing league match between Guardians of the Galaxy Brain and Hyrule Track and Field. Just as an update of where we are, the ped is dead. We have 4 crystals for MrScruffNinjaTuna. We have 3 crystals for RickyofKokiri, and we are probably about to go find the red bomb. Also, Eastern Palace has Trinex, and Tower of Hera had Cold Stare.
Yep, we've already seen 2 blind fights, so we will not be encountering another one of those. Potential for up to 2 other double bosses here. Yep, does look like Ricky is going to get that bomb. And we may be looking at finally getting a pod check here.
I'd be very surprised if we did not see a pod check from either one of our runners right now. Or they might be going to Misery Mire. You know, prioritizing Misery Mire over, which is a crystal, over Pendant is definitely luck.
True, yeah. Kind of surprised that we haven't seen Skull Woods yet either. You know, my mind thinking I would kind of want to route in dropping off that green pendant with when you're heading over to pod as well. Pod area, you know, enter from the light world and use those pegs to get your pod access.
I would definitely be at the same point as you. I think that checking it, doing pod and sorry, when you're doing pod and Eastern and such, if you're doing the green pen at the same time, it just makes.
Yep. So Ricky does finish off. I believe he has a full coin collection at this point. So if I'm not mistaken, the Ether Medallion was in Ice Palace on the right side.
Yeah.
There.
Scruff did pick that up as well. And I will say that one cool thing to know about Randomizer is if you have like the penguins and such, you can actually kill them all in one shot just by using the Quake Medallion, which is one of the fastest medallions to use. So it is a very easy way to kill off a lot of enemies, really.
That is very nice.
I found out what all these medallions did very quickly in a expert mode mystery match once. So you pretty much depend on those medallions.
I can see that being very useful knowledge.
The Scruff's gonna just avoid it. He doesn't need it, knows he doesn't want it.
In general, I like having my Ether Medallion just for a little, you know, some quick kills on the way up Ganon's Tower for the Stalfos rooms. Aside from that, I don't use them too regularly.
Ether is so nice for Stalfos runes indeed. I would go with... Yeah, I will admit I use the Bombos Medallion a little bit too much, and it does take a little...
Yep, that one, the only thing that hurts is that second phase of it where everything has to explode after the Ring of Fire.
Yes, and we are getting a pod check from MrScruffNinjaTuna, and we are getting... I have no idea from...
I think Ricky might be going to buy some arrows.
Yeah, that's an idea.
Yep, that's what it looks like.
After being burned by Pendant Pod so many times, I have a motto of as soon as I can clear it, I'm there.
And we'll see if that's where Ricky is heading next. Oh, he's actually probably going to head over to Mire at this point.
Well,
This does make sense.
We get to see some more divergence.
Yeah, we'll be able to see what the boss for this crystal dungeon is. So I think we're pretty much looking at, unless it's a Trinex version 2, it should be clearable here. And Ricky does get his bottle of blue goo now.
The one thing with Pendant Pod is it sometimes has the nickname of Progression Pod, so we'll see what happens.
The progression of darkness. I definitely understand wanting to go get that arrow upgrade, because one of the bosses that you'd hate to see here walking with 0 arrows is Armos Knights.
Very nice room here. It's one of those rooms that you would hate to see something like crazy in there, like Lionel's or something, but not having to use the bow in there is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, we have our next invincibility item, which is the Cane of Burna. Fun fact, if you actually have the Cane of Burna and you are up against the Armos Knights, you can just corner them, like, you pretty much corner all of them in a corner and kill them within about half of a half magic bar.
That is good to know.
I found that out from, I believe it was Bonta the other day.
Uh-oh. Scruff getting grabbed by the Wall Master there. Says, "You shall not pass."
And Scruff says, "You want to make a bet? I know another way." Why didn't we... The question is, why didn't we get the Goomba the White, though?
We picked up our swag net in Misery Mire. Item 1 of 2.
Scruff forgetting he does not have another key, so he can't go to the Harmless Hellway just yet. The key layout so far in Pod has pretty much looked like there may not be anything there. I'm currently not a fan of this mire, though.
Yep, there have been some pretty terrible layouts here. Pengators being in those narrow passages is kind of obnoxious as well. Thankfully, we have the hook shot for some easy clearing, but...
Oh, why are those little moon guys right there? Like, it's... that's not nice. The only thing worse than that would probably be like an anti-fairy just stuck right there.
So we do have both of our items out of Mire now, so we're just looking for the big key, which is either going to be in the small chest off to the right or back in the cutscene room.
I think are we in go mode? Are we in go mode other than the ice rod?
We still need the ice rod, but aside from that, and the boots, well, we're in no mode, yep. We do know where Master Sword is as well.
Yes, so we need to go get our ice rod, and that's...
Yep.
I'd be very surprised if I saw Scruff not clearing out Pendant Pod entirely.
Yeah, that's one that you don't typically want to leave something hanging out in.
I play a lot of Ambrosia, and leaving a Pendant Helmosaur has cost me more time than you would ever...
Maybe not the worst. The beginning of that hallway that Scruff was in is a real nightmare, but then you get past the first set of enemies, and it's really not that bad.
I think he wished that he'd just grabbed his fairy there, but we are gonna see what boss is back.
And so we'll get a little bit more information of what our required bosses are, and what bosses we will have left in our crystal dungeons potentially here. Ricky's going to be entering his boss fight pretty much around the same time.
We got a nice little rage slash there from Ricky, as the big key was in the vanilla location, but nobody wants to go.
It's one of those times where in that room that's basically 2 north of where you would enter there, if you go north from the 4 torch room, if you find a small key there, then you know that the big key is going to be in the cutscene room. And I kind of prefer just finding out that that's where it's going to be at that point, not having to come back later.
This is the probably least favorite for anybody's lampless room here.
Yep, this one can be a real challenge.
I was going to see if we would see any kind of spooky here, but unfortunately we don't have the ice rod, we don't have the silver arrows, we don't have a master sword, and we don't have boots, so I don't think we could have even seen it even if we wanted to.
Got the lineup, but moved just a little bit too far with the block.
Oh, Armos.
Okay. Oh, but not having enough arrows for this. He does have the Cane of Berna, as you mentioned, though, so we'll see if that's what he does.
He's not. He's gonna do the boomerang. Scruff, come on, buddy.
So both of our runners are in not favorable situations at the moment. Darkroom Meyer giving Ricky a bit of grief, and Scruff having to use boomerang strats against the Armos Knights here.
Everybody, give all of your vibes to both of them. Tell Ricky, go to Agina, and tell Scruff, just use the Cane of Burn. Armos is an interesting boss, though, that actually the fighter sword does more damage than the
We just got a heart piece and a blue pendant off of Helmasaur.
So, knowing that the ped was dead, would you have swapped over to Mirror right before you killed off Armos to see what the item was and then just got out?
I probably would have, yeah. If I thought of it, you know. That's something that I don't know in the moment I actually would have thought of doing, but being faced with the question now, sure.
Right. I think the only time I ever thought about that ahead of time was one of the ambrosia seeds I practiced on. I was like, well, I can do both of these pendants, and the other two pendants gave me an item. So, and I know Ped's dead, but okay, let's be prepared just in case this is not.
Ricky was able to make his way out of those first couple of dark rooms.
We're gonna see Scruff get his boots.
Get some true speedy ninja strats here. So what boss do you think we're going to see here?
Well, I'm thinking Cold Stare.
Another Cold Stare?
I think so. I don't know why, but Cold Stare here is kind of fun.
Landmos. Oh, another Vitreous. Okay. I bet he's glad he got those arrows now.
I'm hearing a very loud, angry expletives coming out right now, seeing two Vitreouses and one seed without silvers and anything.
And a fighter sword both times. I can hear him right now. Not again.
Scruff picking up his boots.
Oh, sorry about that. He does have a blue potion for this fight, so that will be a little bit less stress in his mind. And hopefully he saves the 8 arrows that he needs for the final stage here.
I think Scruff is going to... Oh, Scruff's not going to be happy when he sees the end boss here.
Woo!
The only items that actually do work against Vitreous is Master Sword and above, and bombs and arrows. And Scruff about to find out that he should have gone and picked up an arrow upgrade.
Yeah, but I still definitely admire and respect the fact that he went to Pendant Pod first, because now he does have that mirror. He's got the boots, he can move through some of these dungeons a lot faster at this point. So that's something that Ricky's still going to be looking for one of his 2 Go Mode items. And Scruff can, immediately after doing Mire here, head out and finish Desert Palace as well.
Oh.
Heart Attack round 2.
A question in chat that I want to ask the Seed. Why do you hate living, Seed? Why? But I would like to point out the excellent execution from both of these runners. They have just completely it's amazing how well they've been doing on everything.
Absolutely. Both of them have been on Fighter Sword or less for this entire race, and they've been taking out some of the more difficult bosses in the game with relative ease.
The very fact that we actually haven't seen Landmo, we haven't seen Moldorm, and those are the ones that we want to see in these areas, and we're seeing Trinex and Cold Stare and Vitreous.
Yep.
It's definitely the stress is getting to both.
At this point, we've seen 2 of our double bosses. We've seen 2 blinds and 2 Vitreuses, so we've only got 1 more to figure out what it's going to be.
You know, because of the way the Seed's been, I'm either going to go with a Cold Stare or maybe even a Mothula. Like, if we see both of them, like, back to back, that would be...
Single arrow from the Magic Bat.
That's the most important arrow.
That's the one that Ricky needed all along. And it's one of many that Scruff will not have right now.
Oh boy. I know Scruff very well, and I can tell you right now, he is praying to everything that this is not Vitreous. Oh, I think he just realized that Pingoose had an arrow price pack, or he is saying, oh, I need to go do the other shifts. Oh, no, he forgot that. Okay. So, fun thing is, the arrow price pack looks like it is on the pin gators right now. So if he wanted to farm up arrows, it would not be that hard.
That would actually be pretty nice at this point. I mean, he doesn't know that he's going to need them so heavily. He did already do one of his Armos fights, or one of potential 2 Armos fights. So he's probably hoping that this boss here is not going to require them. Or not require, but be made much easier by having them.
Where is Ricky going to go? Buy more arrows. He's like, you know what? I found 2 biddies. I'm probably going to find 2 Armoses at this point. Let's go get some more arrows. Let's be...
Yeah, and he hasn't seen any Armos Knights yet. But, it really makes a lot of sense. He's up to 40 arrows now, which, when you've got those rupees, you've already checked Zora, what else are you going to burn him on? Some potions maybe. But he's got one.
He's got 2 potions actually now.
2 now, okay.
We're seeing an Agina check, it looks like. He is finally going to get his lamp, and I am expecting rage slashes because finding lamp immediately after that dark room in Mire always feels so...
He's done not all, but most of the dark rooms in the game that he would need to. I'm gonna expect 6 slashes here.
Agina is going to get a bomb put on him. I agree with chat. There's 6.
Nailed it.
So one thing with Scruff here is he has actually Randomizer in general a lot of times will not allow you to do spooky that easily because of the way the enemies are placed. So sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. I think Scruff thought he had it, but he didn't check into the room before where he actually did have an enemy he could check it.
Yep, and to answer a question in chat here, this format is just all crystals required. Pendants are optional in most cases, but if there's an important item on the pedestal, then you will be required to complete all of the pendant dungeons. What can happen, however, is you could still have required items inside your pendant dungeons while not needing to complete the boss. Or, alternatively, there could be an important item on the boss.
And Scruff did get his boots off of the floating island. I'm going to think that we're about to see some cape strats here on Vitreous as he has used all of his projectiles and bombs. But we're going to get our first Dark Cross. I don't think that Scruff actually got back here, so... Oh, only Red Rupee. As for Scruff not picking up Master Sword, knowing him, he did not expect this boss, I can guarantee you.
Definitely not. No Master Sword, no arrows, both being in basically the same area to pick up. I think Rick... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. It looks like Ricky is going to Skull Woods is all that I was going to say.
Oh, I was going to answer a question here in chat. We are in Ice Rod Hunt. We know where a sword is. Scruff just did not. Sword is on Lake Hylia.
Yep. And at this point, we're the only fetch quest item that we're missing that I can think of is the shovel. So, we're even kind of running out of unique items at this point. We've seen the single arrow. We've got 2 bottles left to find.
Oh, Scruffy, please.
Uh-oh. Not a third. Not a third heart attack. I can only take so much.
My heart can only take so much.
Ooh, running low on the magic there too. Okay. That's reasonable.
Both of our teammates are giving us all heart attacks today.
See, it's not partial. I'm nervous for Scruff too.
I was really nervous for Ricky both times, and now with Scruff not having...
Oh, he's gonna run out of magic here too. Oh boy. I do like the sword strats a little bit more than the hammer. I think you get a little bit... you can keep a little bit more distance between yourself and Vitreous with this.
I'm having a heart attack right now.
As long as you keep knocking Vitreous in a safe direction. There we go.
Jetters, we're okay. We're okay, Jetters.
Give each other a nice hug and sigh of relief here now that both of our runners have survived 2 Vitreous fights.
I actually, I don't think I am okay, man. Woo! At least Ricky had one heart. That was a half heart the whole time.
Yeah, this race has changed me forever.
Very true. Scruff gonna check some checkerboard cave right before he checks his desert palace.
That is one very important thing that he has going for him now. He has the mirror. He has a lot more checks open to him than Ricky does at the moment.
Maybe I should just ask Scruff to do a mystery seed with me right after this to clear out his head. As we get the inverted cross keys. Ah!
I do not wish that upon you guys.
We are going to be seeing some new checks here as well. Looks like Ricky to Skull Woods and Scruff to here in Desert Palace. I almost forgot where.
I don't know how many times I thought Ricky was going to Skull Woods and then was duped by something else.
I think he's really, really going to Skull Woods this time.
If he doesn't at this point, then I'm just lost. I don't know what's happening.
He's gonna be like, fooled you.
Not that any of the plays have been bad. That is not my intention with saying that either. But just had a different plan in my mind is all.
Absolutely, and actually, I have agreed with. I can see where the runners are coming from on every play that they've done so far.
Yep.
Try those higher intensity check, or higher, whatever words checks, and making sure that they can find what they're looking for. So
yeah, absolutely, and both of our runners here also have the benefit of being able to use their map tracker to identify what they still have left to do. For us, just going purely off of memory, and I don't trust mine very much, that they're definitely working with better information than we are.
I would agree there. And Scruff is about to get his 6th crystal here. He did actually finish Turtle Rock a while back, actually. But that tracker likes to eat every input you put into it, so.
Yep.
I was hoping that spike would be out of bounds for Ricky, but it is not. Scruff is just over here saying, who needs a sword? He probably has forgotten about the sword on Lake Hylia, to be honest with you.
I often wonder that at this point of the race, especially when you don't know what boss you're going to be up against. It makes that really challenging. I would definitely want that sword available at this point, but
my temptation to go run over to a stream to see is, it is another cold stare. I win.
Wow.
Commentators.
So at least one of our double bosses was nice. The other two, not so much.
Fact is, we actually see all of our double bosses outside of GT, so GT is going to be new regardless.
Yep, we are seeing Landmos and Meyer, or Skull Woods.
So we are not going to see Landmo in GT.
So we will be seeing probably one Moldorm. We don't know what's in Swamp Palace still, but we'll see a Moldorm. We haven't seen Moth yet. We haven't seen Argus. And I'm missing one here.
We haven't seen Helmasaur.
Helmasaur, that's it. Yep. I thought of it at the same time you did.
I was really hoping for a Herasaur or a Helmicopter, but I did not get either one of those. If you have not seen Heracopter, we actually had one in a recent daily race. It is hilarious. Basically, Helmasaur is too big to be in the Mothula room, and his tail just spins the entire.
Ooh, we got another sword on Ricky's side. So he will now at least know where Tempered Sword is for him. Assuming that he also has not forgotten where that sword location is.
My main reason for liking Herasaur is to kind of say once first to how much they love Helicopter. Herasaur, you can actually throw bombs from the ledge behind and get that mask off without even jumping.
That is kind of neat. I saw my first Herasaur the other day as well. That is kind of a fun one.
Yeah, at this point, Scruff has definitely forgotten about that sword, and he is not sure where he's going to be finding anything.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely makes sense. You know, there's 6 items in Swamp Palace here, so probably one of the most item-dense locations. And he finds the ice rod.
There it is.
So
At
he is
144 he is in go mode. My apologies on the interrupt there. I did not mean.
not a problem at all. So Ricky's definitely wondering where he wants to go next here. He's got really Pod is probably his most lucrative spot to go toward right now. Just that one bush. Gotta get rid of that one bush.
Look who didn't forget he had a sword on Hylia.
Hey, alright.
I'm almost gonna wager that he thought he was gonna have Armos in Misery Mire. I can't speak for him, of course, but I think that's probably what ended up happening just because of the way he ran in.
Yep. Ricky's going to be turning in his green pendant here for the disappointment of a piece of heart. Did not get to guess how many slashes there, but...
The rage slashes are becoming more and more prevalent.
And it looks like he is going to go right back in for Pod. So he's going to pick up his mirror here, but... I imagine that would probably lead him straight to Swamp Palace next, but it's hard to say for sure if he's going to try to do some overworld checks or just go to the spot with the most items.
Well, he has something that Scruff didn't at the time, which he has the Master Sword. He might check both K45 and Bombo's Tablet before he hit.
Yeah. Which, granted, routing those in alongside of Swamp Palace definitely would make sense to do. Those are things that I typically like to check before I head into Swamp Palace. Just in case I can avoid having to do that full run through altogether.
Now I also want to point out Scruff, at the moment, yeah, he's in go mode, but want to see he's at Master Sword Silverless, the thing no one wishes upon their worst enemy. I'm really hoping Ricky does remember he has the temper there because Master Sword Silverless is just not.
No, not at all. And, you know, when he picks up Mirror here, he will at least be able to quickly go over to Eastern Palace and fight the... Take out... Or actually, no, he can't do that. I was thinking Cold Stare was there, but this is the Trinex fight. So he will still have to hunt before he goes back to Eastern Palace. So really just unfortunate timing of finding items all around here.
We'll say it takes 10 slashes to take down each head from Trinex with a Master Sword. He can actually supplement some of those slashes with a Fire Rod shot on the eye. Because I'm a nerd and I counted these things.
It's interesting that the fire rod does damage on that side, but the ice rod doesn't on the other.
Technically, the Ice Rod doesn't do damage at all on almost anything. I think there's, what, 2 enemies tops or 3 enemies that even do damage.
And I think that is specifically when they're holding an important item like a small key, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Ohada, you know what this means. Scruff has his 7th crystal.
He sure does. It's game time. So, the guessing game that everybody likes to play and is already participating in is to get your guess into chat for which chest location in Ganon's Tower the big key is going to be.
You do have 22 checks, and we will stop the guessing as soon as Scruff gets into G.
Now, what's your favorite number to guess for this?
I always go with 13. It's not too low, it's not too high. It's just that perfect number there.
That's usually my first one as well, but I'll go with my secondary 7.
Unfortunately, and fortunately, there are not 54 checks in Ganon's Tower, so I cannot go with my favorite. Just to answer a question here in chat, Ricky currently is just looking for his Ice Rod. He's about to find his mirror.
Yeah, that really being the biggest difference in time here is Scruff, having gone to Pod a little bit earlier, finding his mirror, able to go get his boots and do the Desert Palace right after Meyer, just led to some really nice routing.
Where's the Rage Slashes? I need my Rage Slashes.
This might be a worse than the dead rocks in this area of Death Mountain here.
I don't wish Lionels on anyone. So it gets your last second guesses here in chat. We will be stopping this as soon as Scruff reaches and enters Ganon's.
All right. We've got,
oh, there it is, number 1.
All right, super easy. And we do get a tempered sword. That is very nice. So both runners will be probably going into this with at least tempered, if Ricky goes to grab his first. But I would imagine, well, we'll see. If he checks the left chest or the right chest first, I can see him feeling behind and, just mirroring out, going straight up the mountain as soon as he, or not mountain. He'll likely be looking for a small key still, so I imagine he'll find it there. But
well, the winner of our big key guessing game is M4A2000, and also was N0 Inferno as the only other person who guessed it. And so GG's, and you can see the big key guessing game leaderboard just by using that command from the session.
So Ricky did pick up his mirror. It looks like he is going to finish out Pod, hoping to find Ice Rod in here.
Unfortunately, that hand got really grabby there for a
Yeah.
Looks like Scruff was gonna try to grab a safety, but he did not there.
So Ricky does decide not to finish out pod there, which we know is a fantastic idea. So curious to see which way he does choose to go here. Looks like he may be going to pick up that sword.
And I mean, all of us would pretty much go pick up that sword. No one wants to
Oh,
do
yeah.
No one wants to do Master Sword Ganon. And we have a Moldorm, not in the place we thought Moldorm should.
You're trying to be a sandworm, Moldorm.
How many eyes was that?
I believe that was 6 eyes.
So yeah, in Randomizer, a Moldorm can have 1 eye, or it can have 8 eyes.
That is correct in chat there, and specifically Aghanim 2, he does not have to fight Aghanim 1. Sorry, is that what you were going to say there?
Absolutely.
Okay. And this is that enemy that the first time I ever watched Randomizer, I saw this and was mortified. But in that race, they had no safeties. And Scruff does it very well without actually even needing to use his cane or cape. So I'll have to take some notes on that.
I will say that particular thing there, because of the way that spike works, it just goes toward wherever you're at. So you can really bait it so that it will sit, say, out of bounds, for example, or something like that for a moment, so you can get past.
That definitely makes sense. I suppose not being the person in charge of playing and just watching somebody struggle through it, it was harder to see exactly what the plays were to be able to deal with that.
Oh, I can say that Scruff is a million times better at Randomizer than I am, and we do have a type of Herosor almost with the if you see the way that mask went up there at the top of the screen, that is basically what you're looking at with
Yeah, we've got some feet off on the side and some eerie eyes just floating around in the abyss.
There is another really fun thing that you can do with Herosor is if the feet come off where you can actually hit it with a hammer, you never even have to enter the arena.
That is very nice.
I just call him Herosor because whenever you see him in Hera, he does the exact same thing as he just did. But my favorite one to see there is actually Mothula. It is Mothula over there is so.
That sounds so difficult.
Actually, that's the way I got my first Mothula hammer kill is by having him in that one because you don't have to worry about spikes and you have a long way to run.
Okay, reasonable. In terms of the bosses we didn't see a Moth or Argus. One of them is in Swamp Palace and the other is in the basement of GT. Switching to some more dangerous boss fighting music here. Although in this case, I feel like the cold stare fight is probably providing a little bit more danger here.
That is true.
MrScruffNinjaTuna dropping into his Ganon Tower fight just before the 1 hour 59-minute mark. Did I say Ganon Tower fight? I meant just Ganon.
And Ricky is actually going to go check on the Terra basement for his ice rod, as that is the only thing he is missing for his...
Yep, it's unfortunate. I fear that we cursed this seed early on. We didn't specifically say it, but we were talking about ice rod hunts.
Well, I said I wanted to have 2 Trinexes, so... Oh no. Is Ricky...
He may be. He's on the wrong side of that tile there, so unless he has a way that he can hit that switch again, I think he may have to mirror out here. I'm not sure. He might be able to bomb jump yourself out of that, but I don't believe so.
You can apparently use the Cane of Samaria to get yourself out of that if he is in that exact pixel. That's the bad.
Yeah.
And Scruff just making some bacon out of the... Definitely doing this better than I could ever do that.
Ricky's gonna go finish up Desert Palace here, leaving him only Ice Rod Hunt away when he's completed here. For go mode.
So in this seed, we had a double Cold Stare, a double Vitreous. We had a double other something else. I don't remember. But
Blind.
Blind, that's what it is. But get your GGs in chat for MrScruffNinjaTuna.
Absolutely, GG. MrScruffNinjaTuna putting up Hyrule Track and Field's 9th point here for the league so far. So effectively, I'm not sure how it shook out for you guys, but that's, 1 win per week as an average so far.
That's about right. And we are joined by MrScruffNinjaTuna. GG.
GG.
Oh man, I'm so glad that I'm not the only person on the team that hasn't actually won a game now.
We were talking about that at the beginning here.
It's alright, I had to rag on Tabby Cat all the time because of the whole drawing straws for Randomizer. I'm like, well, me and Jetters could do it, because, I'm obviously better than you. And I was like, oh god, I cursed myself so bad.
I was making a joke about that earlier, but you did the execution. Everything in this was really great. You and Ricky have been absolutely fantastic the entire race, and those double Vitreouses. That's what I was like. I could not have done this. I could not have done this.
Good lord, this seed. I can assure you that my jimmies were rustled.
So at what point was there a point at the seed where you felt like you were either behind or you made a play where you're like, oh, thank God this was here?
The entire seed, I thought I was behind up until I found the ice rod, and I was basically sweating bullets the entire time climbing the tower because I was thinking to myself, okay, the only thing that I've got going for me is that I haven't died once. Technically, I got a fairy revival, but I haven't died once.
Right.
So that may put me ahead, but I had to double dip Eastern, double dip Desert, double dipped Tower of Hera because I'm a goober, triple dipped, sorry. I did so much stupid routing. I can't believe I won it, actually.
And this was just not a friendly seed. You know, by and large, the play that made the biggest difference was your earlier visit to Pod. Finding that mirror, I think, set you on the right path for everything else and made some routing decisions a little bit nicer, but mirror being kind of what has given Ricky a hard time here.
Oof, yeah, I was seeing that, the poor guy. I'd taken the last sword was in Skullwoods.
Yes.
Okay, well, at least he'll be getting butter, so.
I believe it was in the big chest, am I correct on that? Oh.
That part, I don't recall which chest specifically. I believe the big chest was a small key, but I may be mistaken on that.
But oh man, that ice rod, I cannot believe I got so lucky with that one. My thought of going into Swamp was basically, alright, I've got all these overworld checks open, which is about 6 or 7 of them, or I could just do Swamp, which would give me 6 items. Let's roll that dice.
Yep, the play definitely made a lot of sense there, and, you know, we were definitely pleased to see that that's the route that you took instead of taking that gamble of popping around the overworld for a while and hitting a bunch of one-off checks.
This chat's pointing out the sword was in the chest that you had to pull the statue for, so it was not difficult to find, but it was not easy to get.
Oh goodness, I could have had a master sword for so long. At least the like 1 or 2 people that put me on their fantasy league is going to get tons of points now because I practically killed every boss with the fighter sword.
That is very true.
And
we actually were wondering for a
while
if you remembered that the sword was on the island there, especially going into Mire. You know, at that point, us knowing what you were going to be up against, going in with no arrows and still a fighter sword, we were
oh god,
punching our teeth a bit.
That Vidi fight, I was not anticipating a vanilla Vidi, and I'm sorry for making it look so boring with that fight and not using hammer strats. But I had no safeties, and I was just gonna be really careful.
Boring. No, you were. Every single person out here was saying, "Oh no, the 3rd heart attack of the seed."
Yep, every vitreous fight of this seed, except for possibly your first one, was a real nail biter.
Oh goodness, yeah. I mean, at least we had some easy fights to start off with. Vanilla Blind was hilariously easy. But, yeah, the rest of them were just nail-biters for me, too. Which is difficult since I was trying to play the game at the same time.
So,
just thought about what you said there. Sorry, it took me a moment.
I just think it was, I think your first big play that kind of set you a little ahead was finding Agina, the lamp in the Agina. And then, I know lamp is a very big luxury item, but on Randomizer, you just don't want to do those lampless rooms. So,
oh god.
I think that was what started it, and then you did the pod play a lot earlier.
Yeah, I think what really set me into going to Agina first was after getting everything out of, Paradox Cave. I was like, alright, there's gotta be some... Oh, no, wait. Am I mixing up seeds? Did I do Agina before or after I went to Paradox? I think it was after. Yeah.
I believe it was after. You went there, because you did have the book at that point, so it was leading you over to Desert to see what was happening there.
Yeah, that's the reason I went. It's because I had the book and I had the glove, and so I figured, okay, as long as it's not boots locked, because I know it's on the floating island, God forbid I need those, then I should be able to go ahead and beat Desert, since I got blocked by Eastern having Trinex. Let's go ahead and have fun there. oh, look at that. I got compass in the one chest I have access to.
And it definitely made sense too. Like, you have boots, so you want to know at that point if you have the book, like, is it going to be locked? Am I going to have to find Mirror to come back for this? Because I don't know if you knew that Swamp was pendant at that point yet, but there was a pretty good chance given that you had 3 Light World crystals.
Oh yeah. The main thing that I like doing in these kind of seeds, whenever I've got the opportunity, like, heck, if I've got mitts and flute and hookshot, I try to get to every dungeon that I can that's blocking my path. So checking out Mire Medallion, checking out Turtle Rock Medallion, checking out Desert if I need to, seeing if I need, or what I need to complete the dungeon. Information is just the best thing I can do for these situations.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I think we're about to get the swamp check from Ricky, and he is about to be in go.
Oh, thank God.
Like, he might end up going. Oh, he did the K45 check already, so we'll see if he does the Bombos medallion first. But looks like he is going to go straight for Swamp.
Now, I haven't watched any of Ricky's normal seeds, so I don't know if he's a Dark Magician type of router, if he's a Hope Chest type of router. I'm wondering if he's going to find those silvers.
I think he kind of does a mix of both from what I'm familiar with. I think more often he does the Dark Magician, but I'm curious to see. I have seen him go Hope Room first.
I gotta say, though, getting that Tempered Sword was a blessing in disguise. I can do Master Sword, Silverless Ganon. I had 3 blue potions. It wasn't gonna be an issue, but oh man, do I hate it.
Yeah, we were mentioning that. It's like, we wouldn't wish Master Sword Silverless on anyone. It's not a fun fight. It's that fight that, you know, it's long, it's arduous, and it's not even fun really for the people watching as much.
Oh yeah, that is true. Especially if it's like, if you don't get any of that pizzazz.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we are in go mode for Ricky here at 2 hours and 10 minutes. He is going to go kill his Trinex and head up to... But chat making a little bit of funny here as the new guessing game is how many rage slashes are we going to get from him?
That's been a fun game this seed.
I think that's just going to be the call for the entire week with Randomizer. It's not the big key guessing game or anything silly like how many blue balls is that going to give you. It's how many rage slashes are you going to see?
So we saw quite a few from you. We saw quite a few from Ricky, and it's been a very fun seed to watch. Though it's you know, with the bosses that we've seen, it's just been a fantastic seed to watch. I wouldn't want to play it, but it was fun to watch.
It definitely has been.
Well, I'm definitely glad I was able to get on Restream, and thank you guys for commentating. That was awesome. Thanks for the tracking, and thank you everybody for watching. That was just a really fun seed. As angry as it made me, it was actually enjoyable.
Yep, this is definitely fun. We appreciate having you on, and sticking around for the interview afterward here.
Hey, my pleasure. I got a jet, though. I gotta go ahead and put away dinner.
All right, well, GG once again, and congrats on getting your 3rd win for the team.
Thanks, and we'll see you guys later.
See you later, Scruff.
So as you said, Ricky of Kokiri going to be picking up his final crystal here. He did clear the Tower of Hera boss while he was up there getting his boots, so he won't have to take the time to go back in like we thought he might be toward the end of his race.
He has shown a phenomenal amount of not only perseverance, but just the execution that Ricky has shown has just been amazing.
Absolutely. Like, the only things that have really given him trouble were, I would say, that Misery Mire Darkroom, which especially an Enemizer, would definitely give me a lot of trouble.
Yeah, same here. It's one of the things as an Enemizer, I always say that regardless, lamp is required for me. I won't go into dark rooms and Enemizer without it.
So the ones that are typically the more difficult ones for me, specifically Pod, Turtle Room, that one seems like you have a much better chance of it being an easier room, but the other ones that you might think are easy can definitely, be far more difficult than you're expecting.
I've seen in multiple races where you might not even be able to get through the Eastern Palace dark rooms because of Lionel's in the back. And so Enemizer is just it's a very fun, but it's much more challenging than the other races that we've seen up to this.
Yeah. And thank you to Main Speed Gaming Channel for a raid of 58 people. Welcome. We are seeing RickyofKokiri finish up here. He is in Go mode now, just acquired his 7th crystal. MrScruffNinjaTuna did finish up his race at 2 hours and 1 minute. So we just have the Ganon Tower climb remaining for RickyofKokiri at this point. It's making sure not to disappoint any of our Fantasy League players by putting a forfeit and getting people 0 points for his fantasy matchup.
And I can also tell you, as someone who I lost my first race in this league, and I still got almost more points than somebody who won. So losing can net you a lot of points, especially if your execution was on point and you killed a lot of things with fighter sword, swordless, stuff like that. Everything Ricky's done, those fantasy owners are going to be incredibly happy with it.
That's something I have to find, is where those fantasy points stand, because I have no idea where I'm at.
They are actually in the Link to the Past League's Discord. They are in League Fantasy.
That's a pretty logical spot for them.
If you actually just go into the rules, if you go to the very bottom of their rules, you can actually see all of it. It's pretty. I just found it really interesting that we could see everything right there. We can even see final scores and such.
Alright, so we'll see what strategy Ricky ends up taking here. If he goes straight to the right, he's going to be very pleasantly surprised, but if he goes full left side first, then it's going to be a little bit of extra time that he spends looking for Ganon Tower Big Key.
And we are going to see which way he goes right now. And let's see. So he is going the Dark Magician strat. So let's see if he finds the silvers.
That would definitely be something nice to find, if, really early on here. We got a mirror shield, a little bit more health. And a pair of small keys.
He's about to get his big key right about now.
And hopefully Butter Sword? Depending on which way he goes first. And
Yep,
Butter
there's-
Sword. So interestingly enough, had Ricky been the first one to enter the tower, I would have been correct with my 7 guesses for the the Ganon Tower's Big Key guessing game.
Scruff is a hope router, and I've actually never seen him do anything other than the hope.
Yep, I also am a hope runner. Occasionally, I will take that small key and go to the right with it if I find one there, but more often than not, I just end up, even if I find the small key, mirroring and going left side from there.
That's usually what I end up doing. I will, well, depending on what I find, I may go full right, but it's much more common that I will do hope room and then I'll do full. But with Ganon's tower having about 6 or 7 routes in it, you could see 2 runners run it, 4 runners run it 4 different.
Absolutely.
There's also the Pink Magician route, which I believe is the Hope room, and then you go to the Stalfos room, and then you go back to the, if I recall correctly.
I've seen that one before.
So, fun fact on jazz hands, whenever you see these in rooms, there was one of the enemizers I did, I could not figure out where the enemy was. I had to walk around the entire room to find it, and it was one of those jazz. Because they don't come out unless you are, just like you saw with Ricky there, they don't come out unless you're right.
Yep. And just like he did, I thought he had actually killed all the enemies in that room, but there was still one more.
I actually prefer the ones that get spit out of the wall more than I prefer the jazz hands, because you just don't know where jazz.
Yep. I think it'd be similar. I don't know. Can you get the little beanbag looking guys who pop out of the floor that show their eyeballs first? Can you get those in these rooms?
I don't believe so. I've never seen them in them. I don't see why. They're gonna be called beanbags from now on. I'm not.
I don't know what else they're called.
They're ambushers, I think, is actually what they're called. Well, I know that's what they are in Thieves Town. They're called ambush jellies or something like that. It's called the ambush chest, so you know.
I'm gonna call it the ambush beanbag.
Ambush beanbag. That is that's what it's gonna be called from now until forever.
Yep, the blob bags. I'm realizing I refer to a lot of enemies as beanbags. The guys with the tentacles on their heads, I call those beanbag tentacle monsters as well.
I don't call them that, but I have jokes as to what I do call them, and I don't believe they're appropriate to say on.
Fair enough.
As we see Ricky taking a much safer route on this.
That's exactly what I was thinking as well. And getting that cape out, not wanting to have to worry about how to manipulate that spike.
You know, I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to remember the last Randomizer I had that had those beanbag blob thingies. Actually, like that in another place. I'm sure that I've seen them, but now I don't.
I wonder if silvers could be in this chest. I don't think this is one that. Yeah, did we get a peek at that from Scruff?
Scruff didn't check anything. He was like, nope, not doing that. Oh, apparently he did. Never mind. I lied.
I know he had checked the chest in the Moldorm room there. Couldn't remember if he had gone for that one.
So if you see on here, you see where it's saying when he's pinging the mask, where it's showing he's actually pinging the mask. That's something that you can actually see in Hera. You can actually get the mask off of him by hammering him on the side.
So if you kind of memorize that distance away from him, you can damage him from there. Is it static, like how far away in pixels that is?
I'm not 100% sure. I do know that I've been able to, as long as you can see the mask on the other side, though, you can. But I think I think in this room, I've never seen the Helmosaur here before, but I think in this room you you may be able to do it there, and I think that's how Scruff got a couple of his bomb hits in on.
Yep.
Because he was definitely not in the hitbox.
So Ricky is on his Aga 2 fight here. Soon to face off with Ganon.
Which I think
Ganon's
Ganon's going to
talking
be...
to.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Ganon's going to probably be the easiest fight that he's going to do in this one, because he's going to know what it is.
Absolutely. And he's got Butter Sword, so despite not having silvers, it's still going to go, I think, fairly smoothly for him.
Oh, yes.
Alright, here we go. All we need is 6 hits with the Butter Sword for each of these first 2 phases.
Yep,
Ricky
and he's good.
Yep. Ricky definitely using the sword swings to preserve some magic there. We did not find them, Ganon.
I want to see if they're in the big chest.
Ricky does get the nice torch glitch action there. Showing us some pretty smooth. Ooh, he's gonna get a triple on this phase here.
Nope.
Oh, I think just missed that one.
I have never once been able to actually get that first one there that he was able to get there.
Yeah, that's the tough one for me. I've done it maybe once or twice. The one that I'm still trying to get down, and much less common now in V31 with regressive bows, is getting the triple arrow shot right at the beginning.
I've seen that done. I just have never been able to personally do it.
I don't think that it overall is terribly difficult. You definitely have to make sure you're starting with Ganon far enough down and you are approaching him the entire time you're firing. But there are just far fewer opportunities to attempt that execution now. And we do have Ricky of Kokiri finishing up here. Get your GGs in the chat for him. Put in a very solid race for us. Just unfortunately not going to pod early enough to find that mirror to set him on course.
Yeah, and really on that, he put up a really, really great race, and he didn't make any of the wrong plays, in my opinion. He made every one of the plays that any of us would make, where we want to go and such. It was definitely fantastic.
Yep. Welcome, Ricky. GG.
Thank you. Because, of course, you were supposed to dip the pendant dungeons.
It always happens to just feel that way, doesn't it?
ay. And those vitreous fights, like, ugh, I was shaking after the Meyer one. Just, ay, 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 ay,
I'll be straight with you. So was I.
ay.
And half of the chat as well.
But you did both of those vitreous fights very well. We were definitely nervous. I think you were low health for both of them.
Yes,
And
I was.
getting so close, too close to comfort for me personally with the hammer strats on it.
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't have felt comfortable with that, but you did very well taking out vitreous with just a hammer on that.
Yeah, honestly, the main reason I didn't forfeit, even after I saw the dot done and I still had like 20 minutes left, was because I'm getting those fighter sword points, damn it, for the fantasy.
Yep, we were commenting on that. All that
Yeah.
work wasted if you forfeit.
And your execution was absolutely phenomenal. I can't even begin to, like, I've said it multiple times in this. Your execution was just spot on phenomenal the whole.
Thank you.
Yep, it really just came down to a difference of routing and Mr. Scruff finding that mirror early, which set him on the path for victory there.
Yeah, the instant I saw the dot done, I knew he must have done pod way earlier than I did, because just everything would have fallen in place with the mirror. But yeah, that was... I'm glad I'm not doing Randomizer again for a while.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that was you on this week and not me, because I would have had many heart attacks during this seed if I were playing it.
Right, but hey, I will say I had 0 deaths.
Exactly.
0.
That's your execution was great.
Ah.
So, any other closing thoughts from you here?
No, just screw Pendant Dungeons and Randomizer. I will be taking a much needed break.
Fair enough. I don't blame you there.
Well, we do have this is week 3 of the league, and we got 4 more weeks left. So, what are you guys looking forward to? Actually, I forgot to ask Scruff that, but are you guys actually looking forward to any other weeks?
Well, we've got Mystery next week. I am kind of looking forward to that. I'll be playing in that one. And then Cross Keys. I am looking for because Cross Keys works better with my routing in terms of cover everything. So I actually like Cross Keys.
Yep.
So I'll be enjoying that one. Even if I lose on that one, I will enjoy it because I actually enjoy Cross Keys for some reason.
Awesome. Well, so that is again, GG's. That was a fantastic race, fantastic effort, and awesome perseverance.
Thank you. Oh, and then one more thing. That stupid icebreaker. I could do just fine in practice with icebreaker, but at that moment, my hand just was like not cooperating with me. I could not push the arrow keys in the correct... I don't know what was going on there, but that was annoying. Normally, I can get that just fine. I did it just fine like 3 times in a row before the race started, but then in the race, nope.
Yeah, we were definitely wondering if nerves were playing a factor in that, because we saw you had most of the setup correct there, and it was just kind of that last step of the glitch that was giving you a hard time.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I guess more practice so that nerves don't affect me.
Yep, that'll settle in. Eventually it'll just be second nature. All right, well, thank you for joining us for the interview, Ricky. Once again, GG, very well fought. Tabby, thank you for co-commentating with me, and everybody, all the speed gaming raids from tonight. York's wife for tracking as well. Thank you so much, everybody. Any closing thoughts from you, Tabby?
I just thank everybody for coming out, watching this amazing race. It was fun. It was engaging from start to finish, and definitely follow these runners. They are fantastic on execution, routing. I mean, they are really great, as you've seen this entire time, not even backing down from the hardest bosses and hardest everything you could possibly throw at them the entire time. And, I thank you so much, Ohado, for putting up with literally my second time ever doing commentary ever.
You did great. I'm pretty new to it as well, so it was definitely a fun time.
It's definitely fun, and our amazing tracker who doesn't get enough love, Yonker's wife, did awesome, pushing all the buttons behind the scenes and keeping us informed.
All right. Well, we are going to get out of here. Everybody have a fantastic night and enjoy the rest of week 3 of Randomizer.
We'll see you later, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night.